Okay, great. I'm glad you had your little soundbite there. You brought this up by talking about Israel. I didn't mention Israel. You did. You talked about the Jewish supremacy. You talked about Israel has control of the U.S. government. You said AIPAC controls our politicians. And I'm trying to ask a simple question as to how that is true. And your response so far has been to say, well, how come Iran can't have nuclear weapons, but Israel does? Which, okay, sure, I agree. Neither of them should have, but that doesn't respond to my question. And your second point has been to make like weird noises and like weird gestures. So I'm going to ask it one last time. You just said that, wow, Israel had one L in its entirety of its existence. But I already told you why that isn't even true. Because President Truman in 1948 told the Israelis, you cannot.
This motherfucker went back to 1948 to come up with the last time a president, before they started killing everyone who's not a Zionist. Right back then, yeah. Truman may not have cared as much about what Israel wanted before Israel was a place. I'm thinking it wasn't really supreme on his mind. What the fuck?
Not wipe out the Egyptian military. We could talk about President Reagan, who refused to greenlight an operation that Israel wanted to conduct against the Jordanians. We could talk about all the way to George Bush Sr., who refused to allow the Israelis.
This is how entitled they are. They can name like these 2 or 3 things throughout the history of America that didn't go the way Israel told us it had to go, and it's still stuck in their craw because they think everything is supposed to go the way they say. If they tell us go fight Iran, we go bomb Iran. We're the henchmen.
To have a nuclear strike against Iraq. So if you keep saying Israel only had one L and it was the Iranian nuclear deal, which again, it's not just one
3?
L, it's the most consequential piece of legislation.
3, and you got to go back to Truman before you even started killing them around Kennedy time. Yeah, 3 times. There you go. They don't rule us because 3 times, one of which happened before they were even a country. Yeah, you're providing some real evidence here, buddy.
But then you also ignore the fact that every single American president since the foundation of the state of Israel have severely curtailed Israel's both domestic and foreign policy. Then objectively, what you're saying is not true. Can you not concede that?
They curtailed it by giving them billions of dollars and free missiles. Curtail me that way.
No, actually, I actually really agree with the point you're making. This is actually very important, and I think President Trump just did the same thing. So essentially, how many U.S. presidents? 5 U.S. presidents have had to stop Israel from starting World War III, and Trump just did it again in Iran. So that's basically what it is. Israel continues to threaten to start World War III, nuke their neighbor, bomb their neighbor, whatever, and the U.S. president has to step in and say, hey, you know what happens if you lose our support? Let's not do that. And I think it just happened again with Trump. I think Trump called Iran. He said, look, they're going to bomb you. They might even nuke you. So you got to let me come in, run this operation, say that we destroyed your nuclear arsenal so we can get Israel off your back and stop threatening World War III. So I think that that's actually an amazing thing you just admitted. And again, this is why we need to decouple with Israel and let them deal with their own business. It sounds like, yeah, Israel keeps trying to start World War III, and U.S. presidents have to step in and say, please don't. And so far, we've been successful. Let's hope it continues.
So hang on, Adam, let me just make one final point, then we'll move on. You keep talking about World War III. So the 1948 War of Independence was fought regardless of American support. That did not start World War III. The 1967 Six-Day War was fought irrespective of American support of Israel. That did not start World War III. The 1973 Yom Kippur War was fought irrespective of American support. That did not start World War III. Both the first Lebanon War and the second Lebanon War, although in the second Lebanon War there was American support.
Yeah, I want you to keep count of all these wars he's naming. He's just named like 8 wars. And they're all from one little tiny country that is supposed to be the one that's the victim in all this, right? They're the ones that everybody just keeps bothering them. It's not them starting wars in all these other countries and threatening nuclear holocaust upon them. It's not them. It's everybody around them. They're all the problem and not the little shitheads in the middle of all the problems. Okay.
Israel did it without the support of the United States, and guess what? It did not start World War III. President Trump had a targeted nuclear precision strike against the Iranian nuclear sites, and contrary to those on the very, very far right, I wouldn't even say conservative because they're not, said that would start World War III, and it didn't. So there's a difference between World War III and then war, and thank God, Israel, like the United States, are one of the very few countries left who are willing to kill Islamists. I'm very proud of the fact that Israel has a strong track record of killing Islamists and goat fuckers. That makes me very proud. That warms
and children. Don't forget the children. They like to kill them a lot more than the goat fuckers.
My heart, and they will continue to do that. And you seem to be making the suggestion that America had to stop Israel from engaging in wars that would have started World War III, but Israel responded to those wars anyway, and it didn't start World War III. So again, you can make your claims. The problem with your claims, though, is you're not substantiating any of them either through facts, data, or history.
If you want to respond, I'll let you, but then we're going to go to another question.
No, I'm done with this hamster wheel. We can go on.
Okay, so
There you go. There you go.
Let's move on to foreign policy.
And then the smugness. He thinks he's winning here. He's proving Owen's point.
Because this is something super hot right now. We're in day 28, I believe, of this Iranian revolution. Over 50,000 people have been killed in the Iranian revolution fighting against the government over the last.
You know, the people we armed and got them to do that. That's already been admitted now that us in Israel got to do that.
2 years in Israel.
Oops,
We saw
sorry.
that the Israeli government in Gaza, they were called genociders. The total death toll was 58,000. I want to start with Owen. Owen, do you consider Iran a genocide? And if it is a genocide, what do you think that the United States' response should be?
So I'm trying to figure this out exactly. What is a genocide?
To be fair, too, they didn't know at the time because Trump had not yet admitted that he armed those people, so they don't even know that yet. I don't think they'll get to that.
Well, go for it. What do you think?
No, I mean you're saying Iran is committing a genocide against its own people. Is that what we're saying?
That's the question. Yeah. Do you believe that Iran is committing a genocide against its own people?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't trust any news that comes out of Iran. I don't really trust any news that comes out of the Middle East. There's been way more evidence of a genocide in Gaza and Palestine than there has been in Iran.
Now,
What
Lebanon.
I do find funny is the propaganda that gets aimed at the American people from the region to try to get us to support this regime change in Iran. And I suspect that these death numbers are just the same. If Iran really killed 20,000 or 50,000 people, I think Trump would intervene. And I think the fact he hasn't tells me that that's probably not true.
Tells you he didn't want it to get out that he armed those people.
But I do find it funny. They say, oh, well, the poor oppressed women. And then they show you these social media stars that they claim the Iranian regime has killed. And yet they're women that ride around, no headdresses. They wear makeup. They seem to be perfectly free. We have videos of malls and everything. So it doesn't seem like there's much truth coming out of that to get us to support that regime change in Iran, which, gee, I wonder where that influence comes from. Wouldn't be able to figure that one out. It's a mystery, I suppose. So I don't know. I would say if we're going to call what happens in Iran a genocide, then certainly we have to accept what happened in Gaza is a genocide. And that's not even rhetoric that I use, quite frankly. I would say, okay, call it a war. These people have been fighting wars for as long as I've been alive. I want nothing to do with it. But I don't know. I don't trust those numbers. I don't trust anything coming out of that region. And
Numbers were off too. It wasn't that many. It was like 6,000, something like that. It wasn't no 50,000 or whatever he said.
yeah, this is why I want nothing to do with it. I want no involvement at all.
So, Owen, for the record, you would say that Gaza was not a genocide and Iran is also not a genocide.
I don't use that word to describe either one of those situations. But if we have to sit here and look at it and label it, I would say there's more evidence that that's what happened in Gaza. Yeah.
Shabbos, you want to respond?
At least ethnic cleansing. At least ethnic cleansing. Maybe not a genocide. I don't know. I'd have to look more into it. At least ethnic cleansing there.
Sean?
Yeah, I mean, again, the problem with having this debate is we have to substantiate and provide evidence for our claims. So, for example, you were sort of insinuating or otherwise implying, you can correct me if I'm getting the wrong impression.
Notice how they always want these we need evidence to substantiate this. Tell us how many people were killed in Gaza while we don't let you come in and investigate how many people were killed in Gaza. Like you
Here, you were otherwise implying that people are talking about oppressed women, but then you look at social media and then they don't look very oppressed and they're uncovering their hair and like, what's really going on? Because I don't trust anything coming from the Middle East. I mean, do you know the name Masha Amini? Does that mean anything to you?
No.
Okay, I figured. So in September of 2022, Masha Amini,
are we not up to date on all of our Middle Eastern people we need to know about? We don't want to fucking have to know about it. We want to not know any of them. That's the whole reason we're doing this, because we don't want to have to know this. This is not something Americans should have to fucking worry with. It should not be like a name that just everybody knows when you say I don't fucking know what that is. I don't care. I don't care. I care about America. I don't care that some woman can't show her hair in Iran. So fucking what?
who was 21 or 22 years old, I don't remember. Her hair was uncovered. She's an Iranian of Kurd descent, I believe, actually. She was arrested by what's called the Morality Police, which is the IRGC's component of the IRGC's component of enforcing Sharia law. And she was killed in captivity for uncovering her hair. It sparked the Woman Life Freedom movement, which up until this point was the largest anti-Iranian Islamic regime protests in Iranian history. So,
yay, let's bomb Iran for feminism. Fuck you.
again,
Fuck
it's very
you.
difficult to take a political commentator seriously if they're unfamiliar with one of the largest democratic regime changes or democratic movements against the Islamic regime really in its history. So the Islamic Republic of Iran, the IRGC, are obviously a terrorist group. They were behind the Beirut bombing that killed 284 U.S. Marines. I'm not sure why that's particularly funny. Iran is also behind the bombing of our embassy. Iran funds proxies like Hezbollah, like Hamas, like the Houthis. So in the same...
All of which sound really bad for Israel. It doesn't really sound bad for America. Like I don't remember the last time America got attacked by a Houthi or a fucking whatever the other ones are. I don't want to know all this shit. I don't give a fuck, not even a little bit. And most Americans agree. We don't give a fuck. We don't want to have to learn all this shit. All these random people in the fucking Middle East. Keep that over there and we'll stay over here. That's what we want. And America has spoken. That's what most Americans want.
Vein that in the mid 1700s during the Federalist Papers,
None of these should be my problem, and none of these would be my problem if I wasn't connected at the hip to Israel.
Right. So if you had the intellectual capability to listen to for more than 1 minute, I'm about to explain to it. So again, we can debate, but you have to let me make the point. Again, you're like double my...
Yes, let me make the point that it's really important to Americans' interests to make sure this woman can show her hair in Iran. Go ahead. Let's see how it's going to apply and mean so much to America that we let this girl show her hair in Iran.
Like, stop doing this whole back and forth. It's stupid. So in the Federalist Papers, we have our founding fathers who, more than any other concept, they talk about the concept of common defense. And in the Federalist Papers, in the concept of common defense, they talk about the importance of America allying themselves with foreign nations and foreign actors who will defend American interests, which is why, for example, again, Owen, you're a political commentator. I assume you know the very first war the United States fought as a country, correct?
You want to talk about the founding fathers being against foreign entanglements?
No, I don't.
Notice how he still hasn't explained how this woman showing her hair is of vital importance to everyone who lives in America and can't afford gas. Like, we've got to just keep not being able to afford gas so that, you know, these ladies can show their hair. You know, they wanted to do that. They'll have pretty hair.
I just want you, do you know what the first war the United States fought was?
So you're going to talk about what, the Barbary Pirates?
Barbary Wars. Very good. So the Barbary Wars was when U.S. merchants...
Very good. I've memorized that too. Who gives a fuck? This is not even important to this debate. This is a pivot. This is just a distraction. So just ignore it appropriately.
And U.S. sailors were being abducted, kidnapped, and otherwise sold into slavery by Islamists, primarily off the coast of Libya. These were white Christians, and in particular, they were being kidnapped because they were white Christians. And President Jefferson, he meets with the ambassador from Tripoli, and he asks them. There's a great Christopher Hitchens interview on Bill Maher's show from a couple of years ago where he succinctly narrates this as well. And he asks them, he says, we have no foreign entanglements with you. We have nothing against the Barbary nations. We have nothing against Libya. Why are you kidnapping white Christian U.S. sailors, white Christian U.S. merchants? And he's told by the ambassador quite succinctly that you are the infidel. And by virtue of being the infidel, the Quran tells us that we have an obligation to subjugate the infidel under our wing. And President Jefferson writes a letter. He writes a letter to Adams saying...
And some Christians blow up abortion clinics, right? Does it matter that one person had some weird views about his religion? Does it? Because it happens with all religions, right? So you're arguing against religion here? It's also in y'all's book that y'all can lie, cheat, and steal as long as it's not to other Jews, right? Isn't that in your book?
That this clearly impressed upon him the need to have a strong defense. The reason we have a United States Navy today, it was decommissioned in 1785. You can fact check me on the exact year, but it was recommissioned in the late 1790s in order to fight Islamist pirates off the coast of Libya primarily. And so the founding fathers understood the importance of having nations that protect American interests, whether they be abroad or whether they be at home. So the idea, and this...
Right. So because they were kidnapping people and then putting them into slavery, now we have to go take care of that Muslim lady so she can show her hair and become an OnlyFans star. That's what we have to do because that protects America's interests.
really a pseudo-intellectual conspiratorial way of thinking that I've really only seen be propped up on the Twitterverse, that America doesn't need allies, is as ludicrous as it is dangerous. And oftentimes that is getting bogged down in semantics. So they'll talk about foreign entanglements. They'll talk about nation building here at home.
Yeah, the reason he's saying that is because it's very dangerous to Israel's interests if we start becoming isolationists, because they need us. They are very dependent on us. We're not very dependent on them except for our instructions on who to blow up. But without that, we can get along just fine. They can't get along just fine without our money, without our bombs, without our assistance in wars where we kill our people. Our people get to go die in a war for them. That's why they need that to continue. It's not because it's good for America. Tell us how it is.
And of course, it's important to nation build here at home, which is why 95% of the federal budget refers to programs happening in the continental United States. At the same time, though, we recognize that the preservation of Western hegemony and the dominance of the American military, both here and abroad, protects Americans. So the fact that we can pay Ukraine, for example, a tenth of what we pay on our military budget to kill Russian communists, that is a huge win. The fact that we pay Taiwan, again, barely a fraction.
Yeah, you can't afford your gas, but at least we're killing bad people that, some of us here don't like. So just continue not being able to pay your gas.
Of what we're paying on a military budget to kill, hopefully, Chinese communists so we can have our semiconductors and we can power our electronics here in the United States, that is a win. The fact that we give, again, a fraction of our military budget to Israel so they can kill goat fuckers in the Middle East, that is a huge win.
And children in Gaza too, right? They don't just kill the goat fuckers. That's the problem. If all you did was kill a bunch of goat fuckers, I don't think I'd have much of an issue with that. But the little girls and the children, and I don't know, that's a little different. Like, I love how he just skips over. They're just killing goat fuckers. I got some pictures and some videos I can show you where that's not true.
So I support any country that supports American interests abroad. The founding fathers knew this from the get-go. And again, the only people who disagree are being propped up on Twitter in the last few years who believe that America first is America alone. And the person who recognizes that that is not true is President Donald Trump, who has one of the greatest not only foreign policy achievements of my lifetime, but also domestic policy achievements of my lifetime as well, having negative net migration, having tariffs that have produced billions of dollars in revenue, ensuring that we produce patriotic curriculum into our
We're going to need that revenue too if we're going to keep fighting wars for that country.
School system. None of this would be possible without an engaged populace. So again, let's cut the foreign aid. I'm aboard. That will not.
Mm-hmm. See, even God couldn't put up with that shit.
Are we losing a little bit of choppiness? But I want to give you guys one more question, and then you guys can take it from there. One more question, then we'll follow up with closing statements. I want to talk about, because we're all sitting here talking about America. Is America an international power? Is it a domestic power? I think really that's the only place where you guys truly disagree, is the purpose of America in the world. I think Owen tends to take a more isolationist approach to America, whereas Shabbos is kind of like looking at America as like some empire. Maybe we could go down this path.
He's looking at it as his own empire.
And then I want to ask, I want to go down this path. I want to ask one yes or no question, and then I'm going to leave you guys for your closing.
Well, let me respond to that real quick. Can I respond to that last one quickly?
Absolutely.
I would say, of course, Pete, about we should. I think again, the true colors are of Israel or foreign countries close to my heart. Don't care. Only America. That's all I care about. And this isolationist, that was the exact same word to a T that people like Ben Shapiro to go into the Middle East. They said anybody who doesn't support is an isolationist. And it's funny because I've heard you actually say the exact same things that Ben Shapiro has said before. Like you applaud and laud what's going on in the Gaza Strip. So I don't know if you guys are getting the same talking points, or maybe that's just a coincidence. You consider what happened in Ukraine a win for the American people? That's just unreal to me. The money laundering, the weapons laundering, Ukraine is going to lose the war anyway. That's been a complete loss for the United States in Ukraine. So I don't know. And of course, here's the part where, you need to hate Muslims. They're all bad, all this yada, yada, yada. Well, fine. Okay, let's have closed borders. Let's stop causing refugees by having wars in the Middle East that end up bringing them here. Let's stop allying with Israel that they hate so that they want to come here and blow us up because they can't get them to go after them in Israel. So, I just think it's, this is where the true colors show. If you have loyalty to Israel, then this is where the debate goes. I don't. I have no loyalty to Israel. I have no care to Israel. You want to talk about, are they an ally? Are they not? There's plenty of debate about that. You can go back to the USS Liberty. You can go back to all the lies that they tell us to get involved in their interests. So I want nothing to do with it. And I thought you didn't either. But here it is. It's like, oh no, we do need something to do with it. If you're truly America first, if you truly only care about America as your home country, then yeah, you'd be an isolationist too.
So Shabbos, you want to respond to the Ukraine topic?
Sure, yeah, and hopefully you can hear me. I think the audio was on my end, so I joined back in on my phone. So when I see 1 million dead Russian soldiers, that is a total American victory. The idea that Ukraine is going to lose the war, well...
No, you're disgusting. You celebrate dead people? That's just gross. That's why you like abortion. It's just gross. That's just detestable.
Yeah, okay, thanks. I'm thrilled when I see dead, okay, relax, buddy. I'm thrilled when I see dead Russian soldiers who invaded a sovereign country. I'm thrilled when I see dead Chinese Communist Party officials. I'm thrilled when I see dead Nazis. I'm thrilled when I see dead Islamists, because I, just like every single conservative, just like every single founding father.
About that, he'll see you dead and he'll call you any one of those things and he'll be thrilled that you're dead. There it is, the true colors coming out.
Again, I'm happy to have like a normal conversation, but if you're going to interrupt like a retard, then there's no point in having a debate, and I would encourage you to log off. I recognize the same thing that our founding fathers recognized. I recognize the same thing that every single conservative and Republican president has recognized, which is there's evil in this world, and there's only one way to deal with evil, and that is with the eradication of evil. So if you're an Islam...
Yeah, we got to kill those children because they could be evil one day. That's literally how they think. They don't care that they're killing children because in their view, hey, they're just going to grow up to be a Muslim anyway. That's how they look at it.
As two flies planes in the Twin Towers, the only response to that is murder, is killing them so they cannot kill you.
The 9/11 narrative? Do you believe the official 9/11 narrative?
Adam, can we mute him? Otherwise, I'm logging off. It's very simple. Make a choice. All right, I'm out.
Address the Ukraine.
See ya.
Rage quit.
Wow. Okay, this was
that was fun, Adam. Great job
on many different levels, but
great job, Adam. You once again did a great job tonight. I give you credit.
Dang.